Hi all, Jeanette here. This spring we did a video about creating a hoop trellis for Loofah Gourds. We made it out of 3 hog panels, and I'll make a link for that so you can go look at it if you'd like to. But it's the end of the season now, and I think I want to do an update on how it did with the gourds this year. And so that's what this video is about. Thanks for joining me. For the first part of the summer, after the vines grew up over the hoop and they covered it nicely, but I was afraid we weren't going to get any fruit off of it because we were having a really bad problem with the Japanese beetles. And one day I came out here and they were just all over. As soon as any blossom would open up, the Japanese beetles would hop on it and they'd eat it up. And so I was afraid that we were going to have it ruined, but it turned out that we really have a lot of Loofah Gourds on here. So let's look at what they look like. I was hoping that they'd hang down inside, and I think if I wanted them to hang down, I was going to have to actively go through and put them down as they developed their fruit on them. Some of them came down. I thought it would be really neat if they all came down and just hung down in here. This is one of the first ones that ever got ready, and at first they turn black when they're ripe. You think, I thought, are they going bad on me or what? But I asked somebody else who knew, and he said no, that's what they do. They get through growing green, then they turn black, and then as they dry, they start lightening up and will eventually be kind of a tan color. At this point, this is pretty much a light chocolatey color. Here's a green one that is soft. As they mature, they turn kind of squishy. This one's still a lot harder. It's going to be quite a while before that's ready. And I don't know what will happen because we're about ready to have a frost. That one looks like it's ripening, but it's still pretty hard. Inside here in the shade, our big white dog would like to come in and lay in the dirt here where it was cool. He spent a lot of time in here in the summer. He's a Great Pyrenees, and he would tend to work all night and then go find a cool place to sleep during the day. Hanging around on the outside, we can see all different 4 stages of maturity. This one's obviously really dried up. This one is still quite green, but it's soft, which I think means it's getting ready. This one's hard, and that one in there is pretty hard too, but there are a lot of them on here. I was surprised when I really started looking. And it's still covered with blossoms, but it's not going to have a chance to make any more because we're due to have a frost here in just a couple of nights, I think. This is an immature Loofah Gourd. You can still see on the bottom end of it where the flower was, and it's quite small. It hasn't started to fill out. And here's one that's even smaller. It might surprise you to know that you can actually eat Loofah Gourds. I never knew that in my life until I was exposed to some Asian cuisine. We have a lot of Asian vendors at the market, and they actually sell the immature Loofah Gourds, primarily Asian customers, and I've seen them called Chinese okra or even Japanese okra, and what they are is just an immature Loofah Gourd. I'm looking around trying to find some immature ones so that I can take them to the house and cook them. I've never eaten them. As far as I know, I've never eaten them. I'm going to do a little demonstration on how to cook them, mostly just a stir fry, and we'll give that a try. I truly expected to come out here and find quite a few this size, this level of immaturity, but I haven't really found any. I've found these two here that I showed you earlier. I'm going to break at least that one off. I see some that are kind of hard, but they're pretty big. So I know that if you let them get too far along, that the fibers from the loofah develops in there, and then they just aren't very appetizing. At this stage, they resemble more a zucchini or a yellow squash. So I've got these two small ones, and I'll go cook them up, and just so we can say we did. While I'm out here, I'm going to show you my one Whistle Thicket pumpkin. I planted 4 plants out here, but there again, the Japanese beetles like destroyed them. Plus, as you can see, I let the weeds grow up in them. But I came up with this one pumpkin. I'm sure it's not going to win any competition. It's not the biggest. It's not necessarily the ugliest, although that side doesn't look very good, but it has sat here for a long time. Tom Copeland, this is my pumpkin. My pathetic pumpkin. Well, I'm in the kitchen now. From what I've learned in my research, you typically peel the Loofah gourd, and that's what I'm going to do first. I found another one that was fairly small. It's a little bit soft, but I picked it to see what it does. And then I found this bigger one that's really very hard, so I picked it just to see what's inside of it. I've got a good potato peeler here, and oh, that's kind of, you got to dig kind of deep on the skin to get it cut off. At least on this one. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, it peels easily. So obviously the bigger they get, the harder the skin is. This peels super easy. How about this one? Same, super easy. So I'm gonna get this big one peeled so we can find out what's inside there and peel the rest of these. I got everything peeled. These 3 peeled very easily. As you saw, this one was peeling quite hard. Hopefully it won't be hard all the way through, but now I'll just cut it up and we'll see what's inside of it. On this small one, I'm just going to make like 4 cuts. Alright, on the inside it seems just to be solid, maybe a little bit softer on the inside than the outside, but there's no fiber in there, nothing that looks like a sponge. Here's the next big one. It's basically the same. It's a little spongy inside there, a little soft, but it seems solid. Here's the one that was softer, so let's see what's inside there. It's more spongy. I might be able to see the beginning of some seeds. I think it's going to be very edible. Okay, now I'm really curious to see what this big one is, so I'm going to cut the end off. And I can see just by cutting it right there, there's some little hair type appearance sticking there that didn't cut all the way through. Oh, you hear that? It's really quite firm. It's soft inside, but then it has what I guess is going to be the sponge around this outside that's kind of prickly. This inside is really pithy, and I think you can see this. There's one of the seeds. I'm not going to cook that, but I was just curious what was inside. I'm just curious about things all the time, willing to sacrifice that one. So now what I'm going to do is brown some garlic and then saute this, cook it for a little bit, and simple as that. I'm going to add some salt and we'll see what it tastes like. Well, I've heated my cast iron skillet. I'm going to add olive oil, To the olive oil, I'll add the garlic that I cut up. Let that cook for just a little bit. And then I'll add the Loofah Gourd. I believe it's done. It seems soft all the way around everywhere. So now we're going to do a taste test. Well, here it is all cooked up. So let's give it a taste. As I expected, it doesn't really have much taste. The texture is a little bit chewy, spongy. I don't know what to call it actually. But I think it would, like zucchini, maybe. Just an addition to your dish. It's not going to enhance the flavor of anything one way or the other, but now I know what it tastes like, and next year I'll probably pick some younger ones and add it to some dishes as if I make stir fry or something like that. So thanks for coming along and watching me while I look at the gourds and show you how they did over the year, and as I test out the cooking of some of them. And we'll see you next time.